Hello, this is very a quick update for parts of Australia and spots of Oceania. We made a video a few days ago, but let's just see uh, this system that's trying to form near Australia and East Timor. So we still have this low pressure area a little bit more organized now as of April 11th. There in Australia, it's April 11th. So there are a lot of storms near southern Indonesia with this as well, and this might pass closer to Australia next few days, so shows more storms the Northern Territory throughout today, Friday, and into Saturday, tomorrow, especially Sunday, shows this making a very close approach to northwestern Australia as a tropical storm, maybe, and still goes there. Probably this is by Wednesday, still a tropical storm, and probably another low pressure trying to form between Papua New Guinea and Australia on the 17th. So the European takes this one just south of Broome into Western Australia, and then it forms the next one in the Bay of Carpentaria and goes into the Northern Territory. So we really have to watch this pattern here for the potential of these tropical systems. So here the probabilities now, we do have a high chance of formation with this system now. And let's see, there the images from the satellite shows a lot of convection with this some high cloud tops in this system. So it's trying to strengthen, and most models here take it generally in that direction towards the Indian Ocean there, and some towards northwestern Australia. This is the GFS. There's like the European here that goes towards the Indian Ocean, the Navgen passes kind of through Australia, and the GFS that goes east and goes west and tries to curve back east towards Australia. And there's here the Canadian model. It goes towards the Indian Ocean, tries to make a come for Australia later. So here there's the GFS, the operational model. It does go there, strengthens this to a tropical storm, and even gets to a category 1 there near northwestern Australia. This is still already Saturday, so this goes, and then the GFS forms the other one just north of Australia on April 15th, takes it into the Northern Territory, and takes the other one further into the Indian Ocean. It does curve it back east towards Australia, but then it dissipates. So we have to watch both of these systems. And this one, they might pass very close to Western Australia now, and this next one to form later near Northern Australia. So the 0Z European takes this as a category 1 into Western Australia, and then forms the next one to the Northern Territory on April 20th. So here's the Canadian model. It forms this system there near northwestern Australia, and it kind of goes into the Indian Ocean, but then makes a comeback for Western Australia around the 19th. And the Canadian still forming that one just north of Australia, but it goes towards Queensland instead of Northern Territory. So we'll keep watching. Be aware those areas. There's the Navgen too, so like this one goes into northwestern Australia, and it goes right into northwestern Australia in the Navgen, and then the Navgen forms this other low pressure on the 16th in the Bay of Carpentaria, and at the same time the other one near northwestern Australia. So lots of stuff to watch there. There's the icon here. This goes, and this is not loaded, so show like that one there, but the icon's like very weak. It has just like a tropical depression or something, and then on the 14th it tries to get a low pressure near Papua New Guinea, but barely nothing. So be aware those areas, but nothing is 100% sure yet. But just in the short range, next 12 hours for rainfall next day or so. So in the next 24 hours does show this high resolution model more than 66 millimeters northern territory, all the way to 100 millimeters the northernmost point, and some storms in some areas of the northern territory, but like just 47, 27 millimeters, not much. The real action will be around East Timor and Indonesia. This high resolution model is more than 300 millimeters in the eastern part of East Timor in the next 24 hours. So please be careful. This is even less, this is just 20 hours. So this will cause significant flooding there. Be careful. And shows like some other spots of Indonesia, upwards of 400 millimeters in the next 20 hours. So please be careful in East Timor and southern Indonesia. Meanwhile, so you can see the difference, the European model has just 9 millimeters in the next 20 hours, and the other model is almost 400. So it's a gigantic difference between those high resolution models and these global models. So, but I tend to trust more the high resolution ones. So please be careful with flooding in those areas. And but the European the next 20 hours does have some more near the eastern part of Northern Territory. So be careful, especially Queensland in the next day or so. It has all the way to 132 millimeters in Queensland, the European, so be careful. The high resolution model has more further north in Queensland, some isolated spots of some stronger storms there. So be aware. In 5 days here shows like array accumulates more in the northern territory, close to 200 millimeters, some spots there because that low pressure forming, and it does bring this one very close to northwestern Australia. Some areas there like to 150 millimeters, 142, so stay safe in those areas. And most of Australia is further south is dry now, but this area here in the north still those heavy storms, so be careful along this area. And still shows Queensland next 5 days to 174 millimeters in some spots, and those cold fronts are in the southwest over there, so be careful as well. Spots of southwest Australia, but also just some small cold fronts for thunderstorm or two, and some breezy conditions. Nothing to be crazy worried there. Just be more careful northwestern Australia, because in the long range the European does bring this into Western Australia with more than 300 millimeters next 10 days. So it shows this going to northwestern Australia. Next 11 days it shows like in the Northern Territory close to 300 millimeters in some areas there as this other potential system comes into play. And so please be aware. There's the GFS. Next 5 days it does have some more widespread rainfall for northern Queensland and the Northern Territory, even more than the European. Some spots there to 200 millimeters, 148, more spots to 266, northernmost Northern Territory with that potential cyclone. So stay safe in those areas, northwestern Australia, and those fronts in southwestern Australia, and more rain on the east coast as well in Australia, so be careful. The icon has also this cyclone kind of forming there and approaching spots on northwestern Australia, close to 140 millimeters next 5 days. So be careful. And the axis doing some crazy stuff. That cyclone shows like some crazy rainfall amounts in the middle of the ocean there. But it does have in these areas of the coast parts of 600 millimeters here, even 700. Luckily, I don't see any major cities there, but just be careful. But for further north in some other towns like 400 millimeters, 326, and even more than 300 in other spots northwestern Australia. So the access is taking this into Australia and then back into the ocean later. So this is a possibility. Please be careful. It does have more for Northern Territory more spots there. In 5 days, it does have some very big amounts. Western Guinea, Papua New Guinea, and Eastern Indonesia. There are spots of East Timor as well. So stay safe, Northern Territory, especially Northern Queensland and Papua New Guinea. Central Papua New Guinea, more than 200 millimeters, 228. So stay safe. More spots of the coast of Queensland might have those heavier downpours. And in Eastern Australia, Coffs Harbour, 77 millimeters. More areas of Brisbane, 16 millimeters. Some 4 in Sydney. So some rain there as well. And southwestern Australia, even to 70 millimeters, 20 millimeters to 33. So be careful in those areas. The axis shows this cyclone forming there. Some heavy rain in Indonesia, Northern Australia. And it does have this making landfall as between Saturday and Sunday in the coast of northwestern Australia, and then it goes back into the Indian Ocean there later and strengthens more. So please be aware, and it tries to bring it back later into Western Australia around the 18th. So please monitor this cyclone if you are there, and who try to have more videos about this next week as this unfolds, but just stay on alert there in case this does form and comes towards you. It does have some above average wind gusts through Central Australia, and then the European does strengthen this quite a bit Saturday, and then it does go into northwestern Australia there. This is around the 12th. This is almost Sunday there because this year's in European time, so this is practically Sunday. The Europeans, like, the axis has 150 km per gust northwestern Australia as it makes landfall, but just the axis is making landfall. The icon is nearby with some higher gusts on the coast. The GFS is very much nearby, with some higher gusts on the coast as well. And the Europeans not so nearby, but might be some larger waves too. But the European does strengthen this as well and passes close to the coast there. So be careful with the wind gusts in case this makes landfall. Later, it does have landfall south of Broome on April 17th. Another spots northwestern Australia with some very high wind gusts around the 17th and the 18th, and then this goes there. But that's just one possibility. This might not even make landfall. So please be careful those areas. There's this high resolution model for the wind gusts, and it's crazy because it shows a complete different situation. It shows the low pressure around Indonesia, and the global models have the low pressure in the ocean further south. But it does show some high winds in Indonesia now, Thursday into Friday, especially like this afternoon, Friday the 11th, more than 100 km per gust near Indonesia and East Timor. So please stay safe there in case this is true. And this model is like absolutely crazy. Shows to 183 km per gust in this southern island of Indonesia. And for example, the European is just around 60 km per gust there. The GFS 39, but the GFS already has this way further south, and the icon is hanging around there in the ocean. So please be careful those areas there and stay safe, because if that high resolution model is right, you might have some turbulent conditions already happening there. So stay safe. And on the satellites now shows that the biggest part of it is in the ocean, but there are some downpours near Indonesia and East Timor as well. So be careful. Some downpours central Indonesia, a lot of lightning, and some more spots in the Coral Sea. So be careful this system coming, and I will keep watching. Just a recap here for the rest of you in Oceania does show this big area of moisture next 5 days between the Solomon Islands and New Zealand, mainly in the ocean, but might affect spots of Vanuatu, Mua, Lata, Sola, and more islands there, especially Mua, Lata, and these isolated islands, spots of Tuvalu as well, and Fiji, especially on the east coast, shows some high accumulations. And this doesn't get all the way to New Zealand, but might be somewhere on the north coast, more from southwestern New Zealand. And the long range shows even more, like 11 days from now, more in New Zealand, even more than 100 meters, in Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, a lot more, even in Fiji. So yeah, but it's too far out. Just be careful in the short term, those showers and storms there. Spots of French Polynesia might have some heavier showers too, some islands there. So BR 78 millimeters, the GFS around 42 millimeters, 59. The icons is all the way to like 98 millimeters in a few islands there. And the icons more northern Vanuatu too. Solomon Islands might have some heavier tropical downpours as well. So be careful with the rains in those areas. This goes, those showers and storms there shows like around New Caledonia, some storms too, Vanuatu, some in Fiji as well, throughout these next 5 to 10 days, and French Polynesia, those areas there. So be careful later on. The European wants to bring this towards New Zealand on April 16th, but this still too far out to determine. But we'll keep watching. There's the GFS that's further east of New Zealand, and the icons right over New Zealand. So we'll keep watching this potential system. There are wind gusts here higher in the ocean, like near Australia and New Zealand, and stronger as well, like some spots of the Southern Ocean there, and sometimes in southwestern New Zealand or some spots there in New Zealand. But right now, for example, in the Southern Ocean, there are some isolated islands there near the Antarctic. They're getting some very rough gusts. Be careful if you are those stations there, and some more little islands. So be aware. So Thursday, Friday, this goes, and yeah, be aware. In southwestern Australia, doesn't show much in terms of wind. Maybe this front on Saturday and Sunday slightly higher gusts near spots of Western Australia, but shows here like a storm or two Saturday, then into Sunday some more storms, that low pressure system near southwestern Australia. So be aware, even next week some. So stay safe. There's like in eastern Australia some showers, maybe a storm or two as well. There's just this big mass of storms near Vanuatu, New Caledonia, Fiji, potentially towards New Zealand next week. So please be aware, but be careful in Australia and Indonesia, that potential cyclone.